Hi everybody. I'm so sorry I'm getting this to you so late, but I did want to spend a few minutes to go over our Unit 2 and our second essay of the semester. I know there was a lot of confusion about where to find things, so I wanted to start out and just show you guys. This is just this is our main page here, and I'm going to change my role so it looks like what you guys see. Okay. So the very first thing posted under the news on our main page is going to be the Unit 2 message. To get to that, you can just click the here, and that's going to take you to our schedule. And everything else that you see on here, whether it's a discussion post, a handout, a website, a video, you should be able to just click on the link on here, and it should take you to it. Every now and then, there's going to be, let me go back real fast to Unit 2, there's going to be an outside source, so sometimes it's like a link, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. That worked. If it doesn't work, I try to always include the URL here. And usually if it won't open a tab for you or it won't open a web page for you, you can just click on the link here, or you can copy and paste it. So, excuse me. Hopefully that will be helpful, like in terms of navigation for you. Okay, so the first thing the main thing we're gonna look at is your assignment sheet for Essay 2. And so you can see access that just by clicking on that link. Okay, so our second assignment of the semester is going to be our analysis. And I think that there are some important things to take just generally from like a writing class. I think you need to learn how to do summary. I think it's important to learn to write strong paragraphs with strong topic sentences, finding focus in your papers. All those things are things you're going to have to do throughout your time in college, and a lot of it once you go out into the workforce. And a lot of you are already working, but and if you are, you'll probably recognize that analysis is something that you already have to do. Just kind of like a short answer of what analysis is. It's basically where you take something. It could be a newspaper article. It could be a YouTube video, a TED Talk. It could be a rap song. It could be so many things. A text can be so many different things. A TV show. You take that thing, or it could be something more kind of more abstract. It could be a problem where you look at the whole thing and you break it down into individual parts to really examine it, and then you come to some kind of conclusion about that text. So we're gonna be breaking that down here. I really like the way that the Norton Field Guide to Writing talks about analysis. They define it as a genre of writing that closely examines a text, both for what it says, so what is the author saying, and then for how it does so. How does it say what it says? And by answering those questions, you can demonstrate for readers how a text works and how well it works. So your thesis statement for a paper like this is going to be this, text, this newspaper article. You'll want to have something in there where you're telling us how well the article or the song or whatever it is works, the advertisement, and then how it achieves those effects. Like, how does it, what aspect of the song or the movie or the whatever are you going to be focusing on? Okay, so the things that you're going to need to make sure that you include, these are all features of an analysis paper. Um, and so these are things that you're going to commonly see across most examples. So a brief description or summary. So a summary, typically you would call a summary something that you would do with like a text that relies a lot on language. So, you know, that could be anything from like a radio advertisement to a book. But you also have the option of analyzing visual advertisements for this paper. And if you do that, then you're going to describe that visual text for us. The second thing it needs to have is attention to the context. And I think this is so important. And a lot of times it goes kind of unspoken. But you really, when you're analyzing a text, you can't just look at it and not consider anything outside of it. I say on here, it's not, an analysis can't exist in a vacuum. It's part of this larger conversation about whatever it is you're discussing. So you want to be looking at things like social factors, cultural factors, political factors, religious factors, current events, all of these things that are current to the text. All of these things are going to influence the choices that the writer made and how you, as the viewer or the reader, take that information. Okay, the third thing you're going to want here is a clear interpretation or judgment. You're going to want to be able to clearly say, this text achieves its purpose of, or this text does not achieve its purpose. And then whichever you kind of conclusion that you come to leads us into the fourth thing that you really need to have in an analysis, which is reasonable support for your conclusions. So you need to be pulling examples from the text to show, you know, you can say that this reader is using logic to sell its product. Great. That's a great thing to note. Or emotion is a good one. The ad uses emotion to influence the consumer. I don't know if you guys have ever seen the ASPCA commercials where with the Sarah McLachlan song and all the really sad dogs and I'm a sucker for those. Those very clearly use a great deal of emotion. So if you're making that argument, don't just say the ad employs emotion. You also have to show us, give us examples from the ad. The sad looking dogs in black and white, the tone of the song, which like seems mournful and references like death and poverty and suffering. Those are the kinds of things that you're going to bring in to support your conclusions. You guys do have a few choices of texts that you can use, and I'm going to post some links to things that might be helpful, some places that you might look, for example, for a public speech, or relatively recent opinion pieces that are in newspapers or magazines. I have some places for you to get those things. But you're going to choose one of the following for this essay. So you're going to choose either a print or a video advertisement. You can also do two if the two have something in common that you can either kind of compare. I would say both compare and contrast. So you can do, you know, like anything from a Super Bowl ad to like a magazine spread. Or it could be an online advertisement. It's, you know, be creative with that. Your second choice is a recent public speech. I do like to keep most of these relatively recent because it's easier for you to think about the context of these things if you're not having to go super far back in history and then do a whole bunch of research on context. And then your third choice is something like an op-ed or an opinion piece in a newspaper or a magazine. So you are going to be looking at some things. First of all, rhetorical elements. These are elements of a text that the author considers when writing. So that's going to be, who are they writing to? Who is their audience? What is their purpose? Are they writing to sell you something? Are they writing? Well, they're going to be trying to sell you something. The point of this is to look at someone who's trying to, but is it to sell you on an idea? So, for example, join this political movement, and this is why. Is it the purpose to persuade you to purchase something, like physically purchase something? Stance is going to be, does the text, does the advertisement, the speech, or the opinion piece, do they place themselves in opposition to something else? Do they make it clear what their own stance is? And then media and design. So are there visuals? Are there images? What kind of layout do we have? This also can expect audience. Who is the person trying to reach, and how are they doing that? So, and you'll have a lot more things to kind of guide you through those things. But so we have the rhetorical elements, and then we also have appeals. And you guys may have heard of these before. This is what we call the rhetorical triangle of ethos, pathos, and logos. Ethos is going to be you're building up your reputation. Ethos has a lot to do with reputation. Does this person seem to be knowledgeable in this particular subject area? Do they have some kind of like government power or corporate power? Pathos is the approach that you use if you want to appeal to someone's emotions. And then logos is when you're trying to appeal to someone's logic. So the author is trying to be like, you're a smart cookie. Let me give you some facts and figures that are going to appeal to you. And then also the context, so social, cultural, political, etc. You're going to look at all those things. You're not necessarily going to write about all those things, because it may be that, for example, let's say you're analyzing a speech. Media and design is not going to be as important. There may be one or more appeals that you don't see the author using. And you certainly aren't going to consider every aspect of current affairs when it comes to your particular text, but you are going to want to consider, are there outside influences that are influencing this? And if so, what are those? Let's see. So just some tips. So begin by looking at the rhetorical situation and the rhetorical appeals. After studying your text, what angle do you want to focus on? What aspects of the text do you want to focus on? Here, you want to be sure that you are focusing on a really specific thesis. Sorry, I got distracted. Let's see. Remember that, while it is important to consider the larger context, you shouldn't be writing about a specific issue. Let's say that you analyze the ASPCA Sarah McLachlan Arms of an Angel video. You are not going to be making an argument about animal cruelty or resources for animals. You are making an argument about how the ASPCA has created this commercial. You're deciding whether it's effective, and if so, why it's effective. Use details and examples. Remember, don't make this a huge summary. You want to give us a little bit of summary so that we know a little bit about what you're writing about, but don't let that take over. That shouldn't be more than a paragraph. If you guys feel like you need to bring in secondary sources to establish context here, let me know. I'm happy to let you do that. Yeah. So just kind of a refresher, or just to kind of go over what we have coming up the next couple of weeks. So you have a couple of readings. This video will be posted soon, obviously. I also have a video up here kind of discussing ethos, pathos, and logos. And then occasionally I'm gonna include optional resources like this, analyzing a text, that give you more information that may be helpful. And then, as usual, we have your discussion posts here. So one thing that I do want to point out is that the reason that in a composition class your instructor has you read essays is because they give you ideas for how you can write your own rhetorical analysis, which is what it's often called, a rhetorical analysis. So this rhetorical analysis of this Keep America Beautiful campaign, a rhetorical analysis of 2 years are better than 4, a rhetorical analysis of a TED Talk. This is a rhetorical analysis of a political speech, and then this is a rhetorical analysis of zombie shows and zombie movies. When you read those, think about how could I duplicate some of these same moves the writer is making in my own writing. If you really like the way that somebody opens their essay, for example, try to do something similar in yours. That isn't what, I know a lot of people are like, I'm worried about plagiarism. Well, the only way that we learn how to write is by really reading other people's writing. Writers are readers. So keep that in mind as you're reading the things for this class. It's not just because I like something or whatever. It's because I think it should be useful. That is all I have for this. If you guys have questions as you go, and I know you probably will. One question I know I'm going to get. This advertisement analysis post for the discussion board, this is just practice. If you do this, you can still write about an ad, but you don't have to. This is basically just getting some of those analysis muscles moving for you. So this is practice. This is your first kind of attempt at analysis in this class. So don't worry about it too much. Just, start thinking about these questions because you're going to be applying those to whatever it is that you analyze as well. So, all right. Well, I look forward to, I'm getting ready to start your profiles. I'm super excited. It's my favorite essay of the semester, and you guys, I can already tell I've looked through all of them and they just look so interesting. So I'm excited to do those, and I hope to get those back to you ASAP. As always, guys, if you need anything, please feel free to text me or email me. Yeah, I hope you all have a great day. Bye.